Sawate, please pause the video to copy these objectives. Just like our prior two lessons, you need to find a partner to discuss this lesson with. So please take a minute to figure out who you will be working with for this lesson. I'm going to advance because you have the ability to pause the video. So here are the warm-up questions. When you finish the warm-up questions, please compare them with your partner and make sure you are both on track. The outline for this lesson, we're learning about biomass and trophic levels, we're learning about energy loss, and we're also learning about the difference between how energy moves through an ecosystem and how nutrients move through an ecosystem. So here's the first section. Please make a section header. Take a second to copy this slide. So biomass is the total dry mass of organic matter in a trophic level of organisms. So if we wanted to know what the biomass for producers was in a meadow or whatever we're talking about, it makes more sense to dry out those producers first, because the amount of water fluctuates a lot based on the season, based on if it's rained recently. So if we really want to see how much organic matter is present in producers or whatever level of whatever trophic level we're interested in, we want to dry it out first. So that's why it says the total dry mass of organic matter. Biomass in terrestrial ecosystems diminishes with energy along food chains. So as long as we're talking about life on land, the pattern for biomass follows the pattern for energy. It's not necessarily following the 10% rule because there's a lot more variables here, but as you move up trophic levels, the amount of biomass decreases. This is an example. We look at biomass per area. So maybe we look at grams per square meter. Let's say this was a meadow, and we're researchers and we're looking at the biomass of all of the grass and trees and other plants in a square meter of this meadow. So maybe we found 809 grams per square meter in this meadow. And then we want to look at the mass of the primary consumers. So maybe we look at the mass of all of the crickets and the grasshoppers and the caterpillars and everything that directly eats the plants. And we find 37 grams per square meter. Then we want to go up a trophic level. Maybe we were looking at all the mice and the songbirds and things that eat those insects. So maybe we find 11 grams per meter squared. And then if we look at tertiary consumers, maybe we're looking at foxes and hawks and other birds of prey, we might find 1.5 grams per meter squared. Obviously, this is harder for things that move around, but we could take some kind of estimate of how many organisms of that particular species are found in the area and divide that by the actual area of the space that we're interested in, and that's how we could find this relationship. So what you should notice, obviously, is that as trophic level increases, the biomass per area decreases. And the reason is similar to the reason that the amount of energy per trophic level decreases. So at each trophic level, there's actual physical matter that's getting lost to the environment. So every time you breathe out, you are breathing out carbon dioxide. And that is something that has physical weight. So it's interesting, but if you are losing weight because you're on a diet or you're not eating enough or whatever's going on, most of that physical weight that you lose comes out in your breath through that carbon dioxide. So even if you're not losing weight, your body is burning calories and breathing out carbon dioxide, and that carbon dioxide is atoms that never became you molecules. So those were lost to the environment, and if an alien monster came to eat you, it would not get the energy from those molecules because those molecules were lost to the environment. Similarly, whenever you pee, you're getting rid of nitrogenous compounds that are the waste product of the breakdown of proteins and of DNA. So those particular molecules never became you molecules. They were lost to your surroundings or to your toilet. So again, if a crazy alien monster came to eat you, those molecules would not be part of you because you've lost them. We talked about this in our last lesson, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but please make a section header. In the process of cell respiration, energy is released from carbon compounds and used to create, of course, I know you know that the answer is ATP. And reactions that use ATP generate heat. This is the exact language from the IB syllabus, so I'd like you to pause the video and copy it, please. Energy released from carbon compounds by respiration is used in living organisms and it's converted to heat. A little review of our caterpillar scenario. So some of the energy that the caterpillar takes in from the plant matter that it consumes ends up getting converted to heat. And that heat just radiates to the environment. It's not something that's available to whatever's going to come along and eat that caterpillar if that caterpillar gets eaten. We talked about last time that there's also energy that's lost through feces. The only energy that's available to the next trophic level is the energy that's used to create new biomass. So if you see that 33 joules that's used for growth, that's the energy that's used to create more caterpillar, and that's the caterpillar tissue that would be available for a bird or anything that came to eat that caterpillar. It's important to realize that living organisms can't convert heat back to other forms of energy, so you can't use the heat that you generate to convert back to chemical energy or any other kind of energy. So that heat just radiates out into the air, and it actually radiates off the Earth and goes back into space. This is showing some rectangular prisms and cubes that are showing the amount of energy at each trophic level. It's the same idea that we were looking at with our pyramids of energy. So we can see that where that energy is going, that's getting lost between trophic levels, it's getting lost as heat. You might feel confused because you might think like, oh, I had learned that energy was conserved. Energy can't be created or destroyed. That's true in the universe. So the universe is a closed system, meaning there's not energy lost from the universe. But the Earth is not a closed system. The Earth is an open system. So we have energy that's coming in all the time from the sun. We're also losing energy all the time as we radiate that energy to space. So this does not violate any conservation of energy principles. Can you please make your last section heading? This is a discussion question. Please pause the video and discuss it with your partner. Here's one more discussion question. Please pause the video again and discuss it with your partner. Please add this to your notes. So in ecosystems, energy is constantly lost as heat, but that energy is replenished by the sun. The sun is shining on us all the time. Thank you, sun. And the energy from the sun is powering the autotrophs at the base of our ecosystems. In contrast with energy, in ecosystems, nutrients cycle. So we're going to learn more about the carbon cycle, but for now I'm going to talk about the nutrient cycle that you're probably more familiar with, which is the water cycle. So if there's a puddle on the ground or a lake or the ocean, like whenever there's water, it's evaporating into the air. That evaporate eventually condenses in the atmosphere and forms clouds. Those clouds can become rain clouds, and then there's the precipitation of that rain back to Earth. So the amount of water on Earth isn't changing because of this constant cycle, so nutrient cycle. So something that's pretty cool is the next time you drink some water, that water molecule could have at one point been in a dinosaur's pee, because since the beginning of our planet, um, we haven't changed the amount of water that we have. It just cycles. So that's pretty cool. All right, we made it to the wrap up. Please look at these questions with their partner. Please discuss them. Please add to your notes anything that you feel you should add. And thank you for watching.